Welcome to the Boardroom, a show that discusses national and local issues that affect our community. I'm your host, David Alexander Bullock, and this is a special edition where we are going to be talking with gubernatorial candidate for the Democratic nomination, Shri Thanedar for governor, Shri2018.com. Thank you so much.
Reverend, nice meeting you.
Good to meet you as well. So let's just jump right into it.
Sure.
You know, I was watching the Super Bowl, and two things happened.
Yes.
Besides the fact that New England didn't win, that caught my attention. Number one, Dr. Martin Luther King was selling Dodge Ram trucks, and you know that was very. It was a visceral experience.
Yes.
But then
yes.
I saw this commercial where you were telling people or explaining to people your name.
Yes.
I thought it was genius.
Yes.
I thought it was funny, witty.
Yes.
I loved the Vader reference. But, you know, that costs a lot of money.
About $150,000.
Okay, all right. So was it worth it? Was that
$150,000
worth it?
It is worth it. Now, I am going all over Detroit.
Right.
Today, I was at the SEIU march for $15.
Okay.
And, you know, I met about 200 people, and about 190 people had seen the ad.
At the Super Bowl?
At the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Now, my ads have been running since December 12th.
Right.
You know, so it has created a lot of name identification, because as you know, I'm a small business person.
Mm-hmm.
I've been running small business for the last 26 years.
Okay.
So people don't know me.
Now, I'm curious. Gretchen Whitmore has a certain amount of name ID.
Yes.
I'm not so sure Bill Cobbs has a lot of name ID.
No.
Abdul El Sayed was in Detroit working at the health department. Some folks know him. What do you think makes you the best candidate? I mean, you know, with Gretchen, you get a longtime politician.
Yes.
With El Sayed, you get a doctor who has worked in the city of Detroit. With Bill Cobbs, maybe there's that dream of the first African-American governor of Michigan. What do we get with Shri?
Well, here is what I bring to the governor's office. When I was 14 years old, my father retired, and the family fell into poverty. And I worked as a janitor, helping the family.
Okay. So
So I struggled for my education. And so I know what it is like to go to bed hungry. And you know, 20% of Michiganders live below poverty line. 40% of African American children live in poverty. So I understand firsthand, I have lived that life. You know, I've slept in public buildings. I have lived and slept in my car. So I understand the pain and putting together, you know, working hard and taking care of your family's education needs, healthcare needs, and putting food on the table. So I come with that level of sensitivity and understanding. Our current governor, he's an accountant, he talks about numbers, and he does not understand the pain and the struggles that people have.
you bring heart, you bring passion,
I
you
bring a
empathy,
lot of compassion. You know, that's what I bring to the job. But more than compassion, I'm very progressive.
Okay.
You know, I want to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I want to bring, you know, progressive tax structures so that the rich and the corporations pay their fair share.
Okay.
So I do a lot of progressive ideas and bring Michigan more progressive, more inclusive. But I'm also business savvy.
Okay.
So I call myself a fiscally savvy Bernie Sanders. Because I ran small businesses.
Okay.
You know, I'm not like Trump. His dad gave him $14 million to run a business.
Right.
Nor am I like Snyder, who ran billion-dollar businesses. I started a little company, Mama Papa Shop,
Okay.
and I grew that. And I created a business that had 450 employees.
Okay.
You know, I won Entrepreneur of the Year award 3 times.
Okay.
So I am like a small business owner. So every 2 weeks I have to, you know, make payroll. I have to take care of my workers, their health insurance, you know, pay them well and pay them customer service. So I have this first-hand experience about creating good paying jobs. I understand what it takes to create jobs. I understand the importance of education. I understand the importance of skill set. I think in Michigan, people are, there are low-level jobs, but there are not enough people available to take on skilled jobs.
Okay.
Because we don't focus on investing in people.
Okay.
We give away money to corporations.
Okay.
So that's where I bring in. I bring a lot of heart, I bring a lot of financial knowledge, because in the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to have a recession. And you know what? When there is a recession, Michigan suffers more than any other state.
You know, I wonder though, you're running as an outsider, and that worked for Donald Trump. I wonder if that will work for Shri running for governor. But one thing about outsiders, and we've seen this with Donald Trump, his administration seems more than a year after he became president, not really to be stable. You know, positions haven't been filled. You know, there were 4,000 positions in the White House. Donald Trump has probably maybe filled 10% of those. What does, you know, supposing you win, let's say you win, Governor Day 1, what is your team, who's your team? What's your team look like?
Well, look, I ran businesses, and I alone cannot make a 450 employee business. So I have to rely on people.
Okay.
And one of the reasons of my success is that I was able to go out and get the best people. Now, a lot of the politicians, when they go to their office, they are beholden not only to the billion-dollar donors,
right.
they are beholden to the corporations,
right.
and they are beholden to the rich donors.
Right.
And a lot of times they pick people in their cabinet and appoint places are the ones that are the donors. So it's not so much that they have relationship with the best of the best people.
Right.
They have relationship with the donors, because everybody that gives them money, they're doing it to get some return. And they want 10 times more return. So the corporations, the rich people, will line up outside of their door, trying to get positions. Now I will go there, I will not have taken any money, not a single penny, from corporations or business executives. So I go there not beholden to anybody. And when I go there, I will put the right people in place.
Okay. Fair. So let's talk public policy. Michigan has some of the worst roads in the nation. You know, what's your plan to pay for rebuilding the infrastructure in Michigan?
Well, you know, this is what, we will do a graduated tax structure, which will require a constitutional amendment. But we will do that so that, you know, the middle class and the lower middle class cannot pay any more of the additional taxes. So the more money has to come from the rich and the ultra rich and the corporations. Corporations don't pay their fair share. So I will do that. I will legalize marijuana, and that will bring in about $125 million additional revenue. I would reform prisons. You know, we spend over $2 billion on prisons, and we're locking up people for petty things, non-violent crimes.
Right.
And we need to find an alternate means, because we're spending $40,000 per prisoner. And by legalizing marijuana, that will, some of the small possession charges, those kind of prison population will come down.
So you support the legalization of marijuana?
Absolutely, yes.
And would you support a retroactive pardoning?
Yes.
Of folks that were in prison or jail because of a marijuana charge?
Yes, we will expunge their record.
Wow.
So that they can come back into the society and live a productive life. We will give them skill sets to do that. That way we break this revolving door. People need to get second chance. I will look at the law, and to the extent the law permits me, I will use my authority as the governor to release some of the people, the non-violent offenders that are locked up. I will give them the skill sets, and I will make them and help them become productive members of our society.
I've got to ask you, and
Yes.
this isn't something that we've talked about in advance. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. But how do you feel about ban the box? Do you know what ban the box is?
No.
All right, so ban the box basically is a movement. It's happened in Detroit, where if somebody is a felon,
Yes.
when they apply for a job,
Yes.
in Detroit there's no box that you have to check that says you're a felon. Now, I actually met with Governor Rick Snyder twice,
Yes.
asking him to lead a statewide campaign to ban the box in Michigan, so that folks who are coming out of prison,
Yes.
when they apply for jobs, they don't have to check that box. Is that something you think you would support?
I would absolutely support. You know, I believe strongly in giving people a second chance and a third chance. You know, we need to do that. We need to empower people. We need to give, you know, basically people have good intentions. That's what I believe. And people want to do good for themselves. They want to take care of their family. And we need to give them a chance. The same thing goes with opioid addiction. A lot of people get locked up for that. And we need to look at the opioid addiction more as a healthcare issue, not so much as a law enforcement issue. So what that needs is counseling. What that needs is support and compassion for us to do that. And then we need to take care of the pill mills, and we need to act on the doctors and act on the pharmaceutical companies who are pushing these drugs on us. But you know, we need to really have faith in people. We need to invest in people, and we need to, education is the start. You've got to have strong education. Whether it is a four-year college, not everybody has to go to a four-year college. But we need to make the community college, the four-year college, free for any family that has annual income of $120,000 or less.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
that would be big.
Yeah.
You know, you sound great. I just want to say, I mean, this sounds great, but some would describe it as utopian, as pie in the sky. They would maybe say, these are the ideas of a man who has limited governmental experience. How do you respond to the criticism that you just maybe don't know how government works? How would you respond to that?
Well, look, the career politicians have gotten us into this status quo. We have not invested in Michigan for the last 7 years. You know, we have cut down funding for higher education. We haven't invested enough into K-12. I want to invest. You know, I've met teachers, and when Judy and Rachel, a couple of teachers I met from Farmington School District, they had tears in their eyes. Their salary hasn't changed for years. You know, they've been humiliated. The way they get graded, everything is based on excessive testing in the school. And you know, yet what I saw was, and that touched my heart, was that they were putting money out of their own pocket to buy supplies for their school, and that's no way to run an education system. We need to put more money into education. We need to pay the teachers well. We need to teach them as professionals. We need to cut down all this excessive testing that goes on. And we need to take our education from the 40th in the nation currently to the top 10%.
So you think that your background as a successful small business starter, owner, manager, and grower has equipped you to be governor of the state of Michigan?
Oh, absolutely. You know, not only that, but I lived in poverty. I use education. I got a bachelor's, master's, and a PhD in chemistry. I'm a scientist.
Okay.
So my viewpoint is also like a scientist.
Okay.
I look at things in a very pragmatic, practical way, common sense way. And you know, the politicians they talk well, but when they go to office, they get elected, they start delivering it to their donors.
Right.
You know.
So you want to deliver for the people.
I want to deliver
You want
for
to
the
deliver
people.
for Michigan.
Look, the career politicians, they need this job to look good in their resume. I have an outstanding resume. I'm very proud of it.
Oh, wow. So, you know, I like that. You know, actually, maybe you should do a commercial like that. You don't need the job.
I don't need the job.
You want to serve.
Yeah. And you know, I was running.
That's a great commercial.
I was running a business that was doing very, very well.
I got it.
I sold that business just so that I can run for governor. I could have kept on running the business and made 2-3 times the money. So what I did was I sold the business. I took $1.5 million of the sales process. I gave it to all of my 50 employees. And you know how I distributed it is, because most of the time the presidents and the CFOs get most of the money. I gave the money based on the length of service.
So the folks that work the longest got the biggest check.
Doesn't matter
so
what
you let your employees share in the profit of the sale of the business.
Exactly.
That's unprecedented.
It is. And Katie, who was administrative assistant, she worked the longest, so she took away $107,000 bonus.
So look, I've got to ask you this,
Yes.
and I'm not trying to racialize.
Yes.
You know, we're supposed to be in a post-racial America, but Donald Trump's election has rekindled conversations about race, racism, hate, white supremacy, etc. How important is the African American vote in Michigan to the success of your campaign?
It is extremely important. Every vote is important. Every community is important. So I'm going to appeal to across the board. I'm going all over. I've gone to Upper Peninsula twice.
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is, do you have a specific message for African Americans in Michigan?
I do.
And what's that message?
That message is that the politicians have taken African American vote for granted. Mm. You know, during the election time, we see the politicians come and preach, and then once they get elected, nothing happens. Mm. I go to Detroit, I see the prosperity in downtown Detroit. Then when I walk a little bit, walk a couple blocks away and walk into the neighborhood, nothing has changed for decades. Mm. You know, we still have issues with jobs. We still have issues with security and safety. You know, we have auto insurance. That is, the auto insurance companies are taking advantage of poor people.
Right.
So the African American people, especially in the neighborhood, have seen nothing. They haven't seen any part of the prosperity that you see in the downtown.
So your message is that a vote for you is a vote for prosperity for all.
Yes, because I want to make it inclusive because I was there.
Right.
I was suffering in poverty.
Right.
You know, I had days where I had nothing to eat, and I have not forgotten that. That's who I am.
Now, when you had your business, how many African Americans worked for you?
Quite a few.
Quite a few?
Yeah, I had one of the most diverse workforce. Not because I had a quota, but I just happened to hire good people, and it turned out to be very diverse.
Good.
Women, everybody.
Good. Speaking of workforce and workers, so Michigan is a right-to-work state.
Yes.
Talk to me about how is that something you support? Is that something you would overturn?
I will work tirelessly to repeal right to work.
So you support unions?
I support unions because
union supporter. Okay.
To me, union means good quality work.
Okay.
Unions built Michigan. Unions built our manufacturing sector. And when we, respect unions, then we get good quality work. And so not only I will repeal right to work, but I will defend prevailing wage.
Wow.
Okay. I will.
Have the unions supported your candidacy?
I have been talking to the unions. Okay. I have gone to UAW. Okay. I have gone to AFL-CIO.
Okay.
Today I was
at SEIU today.
I was
what about IBEW?
Yes. I have been to just about every union.
Right.
I was at the teachers union.
AFT or MEA?
AFT. MEA has already endorsed my opponent.
Okay.
A lot of the times, people the union leaders want to endorse an establishment candidate.
Right.
That's a safer route to go.
Right.
So what I have done is I have started appealing to their membership, and I get people, like teachers come up to me and they say, I love your policy. I know you're going to shut down for-profit charter schools. That's one of the things that's on
your platform.
One of the things that I'm doing.
I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts and the thorniness of this stuff, but I've got to ask, sometimes those for-profit charter schools are chartered by a district so that the district then gets a certain percentage of the money that the charter school generates. So in some ways, shutting down those schools might actually negatively affect the districts. I mean, how would you respond to that?
Basically, charter schools, especially the for-profit charter schools, they aren't playing by the same rules as the public schools. And I oppose public school dollars being taken away from Betsy DeVos or any corporations for-profit.
Okay.
Public school dollars should not be lining up people's pockets.
I got it. But if DPS charters a charter school, you would support that?
I would support a not for-profit. For-profit charter schools are the ones that I want to close down.
Okay.
And I want to bring in single-payer health care.
I heard a commercial where you said that. I think that's very revolutionary.
Yeah. No, my opponent gets money from Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Right.
And she's not going to support single-payer health care. Whereas, I'm not beholden to the insurance companies.
Right.
And I will make sure to do that. I'm not beholden to consumer energy companies like she is.
Right.
So this is what I have taken a pledge not to take a single penny from corporate interest.
So you're self-financing?
I am largely self-financing because, and I'm not rich like Rick Snyder.
Right.
For Rick Snyder, $6 million was a pocket change.
Right.
This is big money for me.
Yeah.
This is a big chunk of my retirement money.
Right.
This is money that came from me selling my business that I worked so hard.
Right.
But I'm doing this because I'm passionate.
Wow.
And I want to spend the rest of my life in public service.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds revolutionary. It's very refreshing. I've got to ask, folks would want to know a couple of things. Emergency management.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
We got to repeal the emergency manager law.
Okay.
People of Michigan had said no to emergency management.
Right.
Governor Snyder put it on despite our opposition.
Right.
And you've seen disaster happen.
Right.
The emergency manager have no control over revenues. All they can do is cost cutting. And they did cost cutting in a very stupid way. Look at what happened in Flint. When the water supply was changed, the source of water was changed, what they needed to do was use $150,000 worth of chemicals to soften that water.
Right.
They did not do that.
They wanted to keep the budget.
Yeah. And that turned out to be, ended up poisoning thousands of children and adults. And so I'm a chemist, so I understand the effect of toxic chemicals. I understand the effect of toxic metals like lead. Not only you have some physical effects now, but in 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, these people could have mental effects. Not only physical but mental effects. So what I want to do is I want to have a separate cabinet ministry, a department just to take care of people of Flint. I would make a registry of every person that lived in Flint during this crisis.
Let's throw some other things out that Snyder has done. Driver responsibility fees.
Yeah.
How do you feel about those?
I mean, again, why are we giving away money to corporations and hitting poor people for additional? That's just an additional tax on poor people. I would oppose it.
You would oppose it. The Snyder administration has also changed the way tax revenue is redistributed to cities.
Yes.
Would you go back to the old system?
Do
you have a new proposal?
My proposal is that when Lansing will distribute money to cities, it will be based on the needs of local needs, not based on zip codes. So I'm not going to pick winners and losers. I'm going to give money to those who need the most. And then I'm going to let the local government decide how that money gets spent. Because sitting in Lansing, we don't know what the local needs are. We need to distribute the money for their needs, but let them prioritize. Let the local government prioritize what needs to be fixed when.
Now, let's assume you win. You'll be governor of Michigan. You'll be a Democrat. Detroit and other cities in Michigan are sanctuary cities. Federal government, Jeff Sessions, Donald Trump's administration seems to be very anti-immigrant, anti-sanctuary city. What would be your position with respect to the state of Michigan and sanctuary cities?
I would support it. I would support sanctuary cities. Our country is great because our immigration policies. Over the years, we have welcomed immigrants. And immigrants and United States is a win-win, and I think we need to look at me. I'm an immigrant. I immigrated to this country 40 years ago. Then I became a proud citizen of the United States 30 years ago. And I've given so much. And one of the reasons why I'm running for governor is because I feel that the United States and Michigan has given me so much, and this is my chance to give back.
To give back.
And that's what motivates me, and that's what motivates every immigrant. And if we are good to an immigrant, the immigrant will bring twice as much value to the United States.
Speaking of giving back, the Trump administration has exacerbated, made the digital divide greater, right? And some have suggested for many years that there should be a municipal broadband system.
Yeah.
Would you support that?
I absolutely support that. I think, to me, internet is like water and air. Students cannot study without broadband internet.
Right.
Businesses cannot effectively run a business without internet. And we should not bring any kind of restrictions on that. Many people in northern Michigan, about 500,000 people, don't have broadband internet. And it's very difficult for them to run a business. And so we must invest in infrastructure, whether it is roads, whether it's bridges, whether it is internet, whether it is waterways, or replacing those lead pipes. But investment in infrastructure is the way to prepare Michigan for the future.
Wow, wow. I mean, you know, it sounds wonderful. It sounds like the kind of Michigan I would want to live in. It sounds like the kind of government that I could be proud of. What are your thoughts around the economy? So it seems that the economy is getting stronger in
Yes.
Michigan. What would you do to promote that growth?
Well, we need to continue to, and I think the biggest thing we can do is, one, welcome technology, whether it's mobility or transportation. Secondly, we must make skills training, whether it's career technical education in middle schools and high schools, whether it is the apprenticeship program. You know, we have a lot of tradesmen that are retiring who are very knowledgeable. And I want them to be mentors to the young kids in middle school and high school so that people can get good life. It used to be a time where you get out of high school, learn some trade skills, and live a pretty good life. And you can't do that anymore. And I want to make that skill sets available. And I will focus a lot on making career technical education, vocational education free of cost. So that people can equip themselves, especially the returning citizens can equip themselves with that knowledge, young people can equip themselves with that knowledge. And I want to, because I'm an entrepreneur, because I'm a small business owner, I want to promote entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So I want to encourage, so when college graduates come out of college, and if they want to start a business and create jobs in Michigan, I would take their college debt and forgive it over years. And same way with if people graduate, stay in Michigan and work in Michigan, over years I would have a program that will forgive the college debt.
Well, right. So look, we're running out of time, but I want to do what some people call a quick fire. I'm just going to throw some words out. You just give me your reaction. What's your urban policy?
Well, you know, auto insurance, safety, bringing businesses into neighborhood.
What are you going to do about the so-called brain drain in Michigan?
Give them incentives to stay in Michigan, work in Michigan, stay in Michigan, start businesses. I'll forgive their college debt over the years.
What about residency requirement for...
You work in Detroit, you don't have to live in Detroit. There was a time when you had to live in Detroit to work in Detroit in that capacity. What do you think about residency requirements?
I would like to encourage people to live in the city, but for them to live in the city, we got to make the schools better. So if the public schools are strong, then people will bring their families and live in. If there is safety in downtown, in neighborhoods, then people will move in there. So we got to do that first. Make good schools, have safety, have jobs available, have businesses come in, and people will move in.
All right, so hate crimes have been up in Michigan since Donald Trump got elected. What would be your plan to try to lower hate crimes and spread awareness about them?
It starts with the leader. Donald Trump hasn't set a good example. From the talk that he has, his tweets have not been helpful. We need to, you know, whether it's police force, we need to enforce. We need to enforce, and we need to enforce civil rights. We need to enforce equality, and if that means training. That means, you know, diversity training. That means holding people accountable. But absolutely, there should be, you know, we need to have a good criminal justice system.
Wow, wow. Well, look, www.shri, S-H-R-I, 2018.
So Shri 2018.
Shri 2018. Shri Thanedar.
Shri Thanedar.
I got that right.
Yeah. Visit my website, shri2018.com.
All right.
We are a very progressive campaign. We are surging campaign.
Okay.
I was the fourth one to declare candidacy for governor. I believe internally we are in the second place now. We have 40,000 followers on our Facebook.
Okay.
Second best among all the candidates.
Wow.
And we have a lot of name ID because of my travel and the meetings that I've had and our television commercials.
Well, I tell you what, whatever you do, you need to investigate, you need to vote, and you need to make sure that you are a part of the process definitely take a hard look at Shri Thanedar for governor. We definitely can't do any worse than Snyder. It's time to do better. Shri, thank you so much.
I appreciate it, Reverend.
This has been a special edition of the Boardroom. David Alexander Bullock, your host. And until next time.